Before I say anything, just look at this. Just soak this in for a moment. It's almost like we've stepped back in time. I could almost believe we were standing in ancient Egypt. Except, and I could be wrong about this, I'm pretty sure back in ancient Egypt, they built their temples in neighborhoods with a lot less freeway noise. Welcome to Chino Hills, where you can find a replica of the ancient temples of Abu Simbel right next door to an Arby's, where the great and powerful pharaoh Ramses II gazes mysteriously at the backside of a Hobby Lobby. This is exactly the kind of thing that gets me excited. Random, unexpected hieroglyphs here in the middle of a shopping center. And while I'm recovering from my wrist injury and I can't lift my big normal camera, it was the perfect excuse to come out and tickle the toes of the great pharaoh right out here at the Commons in Chino Hills. And before I say anything else, you know I've got to say it. Would you look at the size of this temple? It's gargantuan. Look at the size of those statues, dude. This thing is impressive. In fact, you could say it's the bee's knees. And don't ask the knees, ask all the bees. Dude, look at this. You see that? There's a whole swarm of bees up there. Some kind of beehive in the head of that god. Dude, this is absolutely incredible. My brother and I, specifically my brother, way more so than me, but we've always been fascinated by ancient Egypt growing up, watching all those Discovery Channel and History Channel documentaries, watching Zahi Hawass talk about ancient Egypt. And I've always been thrilled by the idea that one day I might get to see those giant statues of Ramses II, and now I can say that I've seen them. Before we get too carried away though, and you get tempted to believe that some ancient Egyptians were wandering through Chino Hills one day, building temples at random, I should probably explain that this was going to be opened as an Egyptian food restaurant, I believe called Farouk Foods maybe? But was stopped short, I believe, by the global pandemic. Oh, it struck Farouk Foods like one of the old ancient plagues of Egypt. And this epic looking, amazing restaurant, or I presume it would have been amazing if it had ever got off the ground, was halted right in its tracks, frozen in time, like the pharaohs of old. Dude, this is insane right here, and an excellent modern example, and there are precious few, very rare examples in modern times of programmatic architecture, which is when a building is built to look like a thing. So like a dog or a duck, you know, a building shaped like a duck, that would be programmatic architecture. I don't know if it counts if a building is actually meant to look like another building, you know? Maybe it would be technically more programmatic if it was built to look like Ramses' head or something. So it might be a little stretch of the term programmatic technically, but still, I would go ahead and say that a giant Egyptian temple alongside the 71 freeway in Chino Hills in Southern California, a stone's throw away, maybe 45 minutes from Disneyland, maybe 30, depends on traffic, is definitely something out of the ordinary. Dude, this is insane. It's not just this one wall either of the restaurant that's so impressive. Oh no, that would be crazy and cool enough, you know, but that's P.F. Chang's level stuff. Farouk Foods was gonna go all the way. And so the entire building, all the way around on all four sides, is designed to look like an epic Egyptian temple. Here, you can see this. Check this out over here. This would have been the main doorway in from the parking lot to the restaurant, which of course would have been an Egyptian food restaurant. And you can see here betwixt the hieroglyphs, check this out. If you peek through the glass, you can see that the building is still totally unfinished. But check that up in the ceiling. There's actually a pyramid-shaped skylight on top of the building. Well, I guess if it's ancient Egypt, you knew they were gonna rope in the pyramids somehow. True story, my brother, Seth, can actually read ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. And so he helps London with all his history projects, you know, when they do ancient Egypt and stuff like that. I wish he was here right now, because I'd really like to know what all of this says. It's kind of cool, because even though it's just sort of like concrete and stucco, and there's sort of exposed bolts and screws sticking out everywhere from the walls, it still has this amazing level of detail. And almost like an impressionist painting, if you take a few steps back, it all kind of blends together and really, really looks like stone. The illusion isn't ruined until you're right up, like, inappropriately close to the statues. Oh, geez, I keep forgetting not to put my hand on stuff. The wrist! As a matter of fact, the wrist recovery from the surgery is going well. I only have it wrapped up for my own safety to prevent myself from, you know, injuring myself. Allie, who drove me here because I'm still injured and is hiding just out of sight. Hi, Allie. Brought up something cool. She was like, oh, it must have looked really cool at night, or it would have looked really cool at night when they had all these lights lit up, because you could see all along the bottom of the building those little holes for lights that would have illuminated the statues from the bottom. So you can imagine people pulling up to get dinner and the lights up on the statues. Oh, that would have been so cool, you're right. This is so awesome and so incredible looking. Heck of a place for a photo shoot if I can ever get my Boris Karloff mummy costume thrown together. Just gotta watch out what you show in the background, because, like I said, there's the 71 freeway right there. Not in a disrespectful way, but for some reason, all I can think of in my head, like playing over and over, is Steve Martin singing King Tut, you know? Dang it. And I try to walk like an Egyptian, you know, but I can't do the pose when I can't bend my wrists, so sorry, you'll have to forgo that pleasure for now. Dude, this is sick. Look at the level of detail they put into this. All for a restaurant. That is absolutely wild. Check this guy out here with his staff and his ankh in his hand, which also reminds me of the movie The Mummy. And I promise you that I have spent a lot of time actually learning about real ancient Egyptian history, but maybe it's because it was just Halloween. I gotta be honest, I am mostly thinking of Boris Karloff. And I apologize for the wind, by the way. I'm testing this new little lightweight camera that I can actually hold with the busted wing. And there is a freeway here with lots of wind and lots of noise, so I didn't have time to build the video to scale or to paint it, but I hope you're enjoying this anyways. Check this out, even the back side of the building, facing this lovely Southern California landscape, is all decorated with statues and continuing the temple theme. That, of course, I assume would be to attract drivers off the highway, you know. If the Arby's and the Lucille's Smokehouse and Wahoo's Fish Taco signs weren't enough, when you saw this ancient temple, oh, come on. You know, you gotta pull over. Dude, this is incredible. Now, I can't eat out at most restaurants because I have celiac disease, which means I have to be super gluten-free, but this is the kind of place I would have come and brought friends and family to eat at and just enjoyed the atmosphere and maybe some Mr. Pibb or something, just because the theming is so epic. And look at this. I don't know for sure what happened to the owners or what's going on, but it does not look like there's been much progress on the inside. I know it's been sitting here for about a year at least. No, sir, it doesn't look like anybody's gonna be eating in here anytime soon. They do have a table for one, though. Check that out. So I guess if you got the combination to the bike lock keeping the doors closed, you could always bring a sack lunch. I really hope that somehow they're able to pull a hat trick and still open this place up as an Egyptian food restaurant, because this is too awesome to let just crumble and go by the wayside. I mean, how epic is this place? I mean, you guys know I've driven a lot of miles all over the country, and I can say, as a professional, you don't see stuff like this on the side of the highway every day. Dude, epic. Just epic. Would you look at the size of that ruby? I don't want to alarm anyone, by the way, but I think the bees are beginning to suspect something. They're looking mighty ornery. You might be tempted to think it's just because of me, but as you can see here, plenty of people are stopping by to take fun pics. This looks like a little bit of cosplay action here. Sort of the perfect location for it, I gotta say. Dude, this is crazy because King Ramses II lived about 3,300 years ago, maybe in some change, and I bet he never thought he'd get a plug like this, right? His face right here on the side of the 71 freeway. That's publicity you can't buy. Now, it's all from memory, but actually, I think Abu Simbel, I'm pretty sure, is actually not one but two temples, and they are cut straight into cliffs, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think it is actually based off a building. It's based off cliff-cut temples, and it's not just for Ramses II. Unless I'm totally misremembering my Egyptian history. His wife was Nefertiti, and I think that's who the other temple was of. So as you see here, I'm pretty sure that means this center figure here who's sort of, scantily clad. Looks like she has something on her shoulder, but not much in the way of pants. That should be Nefertiti. Unless I'm completely wrong, and then I guess I could always edit that part out, right? But I believe that's Ramses on the right, Nefertiti there in the middle because of the crowns. And I think this is some sort of god, perhaps? I could be completely wrong about that, but I guess let my ignorance stay on the record if I am, and I'll have to go back to the old drawing board. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments who these three people are, in case I'm incorrect. All right, well, the bees are looking definitely a little more fired up over here at the temple than they were earlier. I don't know if it's because the number of people who have climbed up here and dared the wrath of Ramses just to take some sick pics. I mean, who would do that? Come on. But it's starting to look less and less healthy to be up close to the temple here. Anyway, as regards me, I'm still slowly but surely healing up. And at least I've got the little camera, although it sometimes catches the wind noise and gets a little wobbly. So we can still have some adventures together while I'm on the mend. We still have our store up. So we'll have new stuff for Christmas. So there's still stuff up right now, store.randomland.com. And this is about the limit of my being able to be up and around. Although it's getting a lot better. Look, I can move it now. I can do stuff. And like I said, it's only wrapped up like this. There's still stitches, but it's only wrapped up like this just to prevent myself from hurting myself while I'm gesticulating wildly with my hands with enthusiasm for ancient Egyptian monuments out here in Chino Hills. Now, if you'd like to come out here and walk like an Egyptian or take sick pics and see this giant awesome temple replica for yourselves, the address is 4245 Chino Hills Parkway, Chino Hills, California, 91709. And if you don't feel like remembering all that or writing it down, you could probably just type in Hobby Lobby Chino Hills since it's literally right next door. Speaking of right next door, by the way, you can see really no other building here has anything to do with Egypt except for this weird obelisk-shaped sign, which isn't even right next door to the temple itself, which, by the way, look up on top. You can just see way up there. Just make out how it says Faru Foods. So even if they get a new client or tenant in there one day, at least the original dreamers will always be somewhat represented. Oh my gosh, oh no. Oh no, it's customer parking only. And the restaurant's closed. I haven't been buying anything. Oh no, I've broken the law. You think they'll find out that I ripped that tag off my mattress too? All right, we better get out of here before there's any more trouble. This has been a Random Land short. I have been Justin Scarred, and I hope I still will be tomorrow. Until next time, we've done our duty. You can go home and sleep well.